When can I get back to running? Well, this is a really common question. We have a lot of people that run here, that stay active and want to be doing some form of exercise, not just for physical health, but also for mental health. A lot of people living in the West Byfleet, Surrey area commute into town, or they have kids and busy lives, and they love running because it's very easy access. You've got a lot of lovely running trails around here, but simply put the trainers on, go out for a run, clear the head, come back a different person. So when you have an injury, like a back injury, that's taken away from you and we're losing that physical release, but also that mental release that running provides. And it's really important that you go back to running at the right time, not too soon, because it can often exacerbate the injury or cause re-injury. So today I'm going to show you exactly when you should get back to running and also how you should go back to running, and giving you proper tips to stay safe, but also increase your volume as you go over time. So my name is Dr. Jeremy Andrews. I'm a doctor of chiropractic here at West Chiropractic in Surrey, and we help people with chronic lower back and knee pain avoid a lifetime of painkillers and surgery. So getting back to running after a period of back pain needs to be tactical. We need to require a careful but progressive approach to avoiding re-injury, but also ensuring that you have proper spinal mechanics. So it's very important to rebuild that core stability, ensure optimal running biomechanics from the hip all the way through to the knee, and then gradually increase that intensity over time. So I'm going to give you a very comprehensive guide now for runners recovering from back pain, and we'll go into a bit of a deep dive into some of the technical aspects and progression. So phase 1, this is going to be your pre-running preparation, usually weeks 1 to 2. So the goal here is to re-establish core stability, spinal mobility, and balance before getting back into running. So before returning to running, it's really critical that the spine and the surrounding muscles are well prepared to handle the stresses of running. If we rush this phase, it can lead to re-injury, and that's going to set you back a number of weeks. That's going to really impact on your mental load, not just your physical load. So what do we need to focus on? Well, core strength. A stable core is essential to support the spine during running. If we've got weak core muscles, that's going to lead to poor posture, excessive movement of the pelvis, and that's going to increase the strain on the lower back. So what sort of exercises should we be doing? Well, first one we're going to go through is going to be the plank to increase that core stability. Okay, so the plank is a great movement for core stability, especially when we're getting back to running. So like this, on all fours, you're going to make sure you're sucking that tummy button in, squeezing the glute muscles, and then rolling back like this. Keep that head nice and neutral, not like this, not like this. And we want to try and maintain this for 20 seconds minimum. And then we can rest. I'm not sure that was 20 seconds, but please don't judge me. And go back into another 20 seconds like this. Make sure you're not like this or not like this. It's going to cause problems with the back. So nice core support. Have to strengthen everything through that lower spine. And then second exercise we speak a lot about is a dead bug. So really important way to increase that core stability. Legs at 90. Make sure the back is flat. So this is the key part here, where you've got that curve in the back, really pushing down here. So rocking that pelvis back, not like this, and then gradually 5 seconds all the way down to here. At this point, the back's really gonna wanna try and pop up. So you've gotta work quite hard and then come back. If you're finding that it's going too much, just gradually go to here, stop, come back, and then the other side through here. Okay, so nice and gentle. Okay, so those two are great for increasing that core stability. So focus on those very slow, controlled movements. That's going to ensure that the pelvis remains stable throughout each exercise. So top tip here, you want to focus on engaging the transverse abdominis. This is a really deep, stabilizing muscle right on the bottom underneath the tummy button. It's a natural kind of corset that goes around the spine all the way into your back, and that's going to prevent excessive movement during running. Second thing we can try is hip mobility. So limited hip mobility forces the lower back to compensate for that lack of movement. And that's going to cause back pain. So gentle hip mobility exercises like hip flexor stretches, glute bridges, and the pigeon stretch, they're going to help to improve that hip flexibility. Okay, so hip flexor stretch, this is the one that I will always be doing beforehand. So I'm just leaning forwards like this, trying to take pressure off of my left hip. And I'm pushing through the right hip. Squeeze the buttocks. Important you don't rock all the way back like this. Just simply pushing like this and hold for 30 seconds. And then change on the other side, okay? So just pushing through like this
Fantastic. Pigeon pose a little bit harder. So, leg goes forward like this. So you really want the leg at 90 degrees like this. And a lot of people will drop down into the stretch like that, and you should feel it through the glute. That's going to give a good hip stretch through the back of the glute and help that posterior hip capsule. The hip capsule is what goes around the back of this area here. That's going to stretch everything out through there. So lovely stretch through here to help take pressure off those areas. Again, hold for 30 seconds and repeat on both sides. You can stay up like this if you want, or you can drop it down to this position here.
So those are great to help improve flexibility. Next thing we can do is pelvic stability. So a stable pelvis will reduce excessive movement when we're going through that running gait cycle. So really, really good to get a pelvis stable. So one of the best things to help with pelvic stability is a glute bridge or a clamshell. These are going to strengthen a muscle called the glute medius, which goes around the hip through here into the back and give you that pelvic stability. Glute bridges, just like this, keeping the tummy nice and relaxed, squeezing the buttocks, and we're just pushing through here and then coming back down. And then pushing through here, making sure that lower back is nice and relaxed. And then down through here. I'll take a lot of pressure off the base of the spine. Keep everything nice and relaxed through here. It's great. So I usually go for 10 repetitions, 3 times through. And your clamshells, so clamshells on the side, make sure you've got a pillow or you've got something resting your head to prevent any neck issues. Clamshells, engage your glutes, make sure the hips are stacked over one another. It's a simple opening movement like this. Gives you pelvic stability. Again, it's going to help activate that glute med muscle. You can wrap a TheraBand around the top of the knees. That's going to make things harder. It's going to really help to open everything up through there. Again, 10 repetitions, 3 times through. Walking intervals. So start with walking before introducing any running. So begin with 20 to 30 minutes of brisk walking. Ensure that you can maintain good posture and spine alignment without any discomfort. Top tip, pay attention to your gait during your walking. Make sure the core is engaged, you're sucking your tummy button in, making sure you're squeezing your glutes and avoiding any overextending in your lower back, which can put pressure on your base. Phase 2, reintroducing running. This is from a walk to a run program. It's going to be in weeks 3 to 4. So the goal is to gradually reintroduce running by alternating running and walking intervals to build that endurance without overloading the spine. So really in this second phase, we're gonna still focus on controlled movement and spinal stability, but we're gonna increase that running slowly and just gradually start to tweak up that running volume. So walk to run program, we're gonna start with a ratio of 1 minute of running to 4 minutes of walking. So a 4 to 1 ratio. We're gonna gradually build this up over the next 2 weeks to a ratio of 2 minutes of running to 3 minutes of walking. So the session duration, it should be total time between 20 to 30 minutes, but gradually increasing the running intervals while shortening the walking intervals as your back and body tolerate more impact. So really, you're in control of this. After the first week, if you feel more comfortable, then we start going to that 3 to 2. Important things to remember, that running form, focus on maintaining good form. So keep your torso upright with a slight forward lean from the ankles, not the waist. That's going to minimize strain on the lower back. Avoid overstriding. So don't go too fast with the stride. It's going to increase impact forces on the knee, the hip, and put pressure on the lumbar spine. Your cadence. So the cadence is the amount of steps you have in a minute. So aim for a cadence of around 170 to 180 steps per minute. A higher cadence reduces the impact forces transmitted to the lower back. And you're going to do that by shortening the stride length and minimizing that overstriding. If you have a smartwatch, it should be able to tell you your cadence as you're going through. Focus on the foot strike as well. That transition to a midfoot strike rather than a heel strike. So rather than smashing the heel, that's going to create more of like a braking effect. That's going to jar the spine. The midfoot strike allows for better shock absorption and reduces that load through the lower back. So, top tip, use a metronome or a cadence app during your run walk. You can get some free ones on the App Store. Take your phone with you and it should be able to help you, unless you've got a smartwatch. And that's going to allow you to maintain that steady cadence and ensure that your foot strikes are efficient and you're not putting undue strain on your lower back. Phase 3, increase the running volume. So weeks 5 to 8. The goal here is to build running volume slowly while focusing on maintaining your proper form and managing that load on the back. So once you're comfortable with running for 2 minutes and walking for 3 minutes, you can start to gradually increase the running time and decrease the walking time. So at this stage, it's still important. Keep the intensity low and focus on endurance rather than speed. So the progression plan here is weeks 5 to 6. Aim for a ratio of 3 minutes of running to 2 minutes of walking, and gradually build up to 5 minutes of running and 1 minute of walking by the end of week 6. In weeks 7 to 8, if tolerated, progress to continuous running for up to 10 to 15 minutes without walking breaks, and you continue to monitor for any signs of pain or niggles in the back. Key things to remember: pacing. Really keep your pacing slow and conversational. So running too fast early in your return can overload the spine at this stage, and it's really important to focus on building aerobic capacity and tolerance to running rather than just speed. Also need to think about core activation. So remember, the core is the stomach, the glute, pelvic floor. Continue to engage these muscles actively throughout the run. Think of bracing your core as you prepare to take a punch if someone's going to hit you in the stomach here, and that's going to help to support the lumbar spine. Other thing to remember is post-run mobility. So after each run, spend 5 to 10 minutes doing gentle stretches, focusing on the hip flexors, hamstrings, and the lower back. And that's going to help to maintain flexibility, prevent stiffness issues that could contribute towards that back pain coming back. Top tip: use a heart rate monitor to ensure that you're staying in the aerobic zone. So roughly 60 to 70% of your maximum heart rate. So nothing more than zone 2. This is going to minimize strain on the body and help build endurance without overloading the spine. Okay, phase 4, full return to running with speed and hills. So weeks 9 to 12. The goal here is to gradually introduce higher intensity running, speed work and hill running, while ensuring spinal integrity is maintained. So at this point, you should be able to run continuously for 20 to 30 minutes without discomfort. Now you can gradually introduce more challenging elements like speed work, hills and increased volume, but just proceed with caution. The key considerations here are going to be hill running. So running uphill is excellent for building strength and stamina, but the downhill is the tricky part because that can often place significant strain on the spine. So really start with those uphill intervals to strengthen your glutes, your core and your lower body whilst maintaining spinal alignment. Avoid the intense downhill running because that can cause a jarring force on the spine, and really start to focus on your speed work. So the speed work is going to help with your training. Make sure there's short and controlled intervals, maintaining good posture. Start with some fartlek training, which is short bursts of speed for 20-30 seconds, rather than those kind of structured track workouts, 4x400s. Just keep the intensity very low and increase the volume. When we talk about volume, focus on the 10% rule. So don't increase your running weekly volume by more than 10% to avoid overloading the body. This gradual increase allows your body to adapt without overtraining. So my top tip here, use different elements, use cross training. So cycling, swimming, strength training to balance that running volume and give your spine time to recover between higher intensity running. So cross-training days should be low impact to support recovery. Take it nice and gentle. So a couple of other things to consider. Obviously, your footwear is really important. So ensure that you're wearing proper running shoes that provide adequate arch support and cushioning. Running shoes with good shock absorption are going to reduce the impact on the spine during your foot strike. Remember, we're on mid-foot strike now. So brands like Brooks, Asics, Hoka, they're specifically designed to reduce joint and spinal impact. Consider shoes with a moderate heel-to-toe drop around 6 to 10 mil. That's going to reduce strain on the Achilles, the calves, and thus the lower back. So especially if you've got a history of lumbar issues, it's very, very important. And I would highly recommend get a professional gait analysis by someone at a professional running shop, podiatrist, chiropodist. They can really help with those. So remember, please take it nice and easy. Ask any questions in the comments below. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for our regular updates. And as always, you can grab copies of my best-selling books here: The Secret Cure to Back Pain, How to Avoid a Lifetime of Painkillers and Surgery, and How to Transform Your Back. We'll see you next time.